Here is a strange fact about you. You have never seen your own face. Not truly. Every image you have of yourself, every photograph, every mirror reflection is reversed, filtered, framed by glass or light. The face your mother saw when you were born, the face your friends recognize. You have never once looked at it directly. You only know yourself through reflections. Imagine living in a world without mirrors. For most of human history, this was the world. You might glimpse yourself in a still pool or in a bowl of dark water. Your face would be a mystery, known better to your neighbors than to yourself. And yet, people still adorned themselves, braided their hair, painted their skin. The desire to be seen began long before the mirror existed. Today we have mirrors on every wall, cameras in every pocket. We have seen our faces thousands of times, and yet, the question has never changed. Every time a human looks into a mirror, they are asking the same thing our ancestors asked beside that forest pool. Not, what do I look like? But something deeper, something older. Who am I? Tonight, we follow the mirror through 10,000 years of that question. A mirror is, at its heart, a very simple thing. A surface so smooth and so flat that light cannot scatter. It can only bounce back, perfectly, in the direction it came. In that moment of perfect return, an image appears. Not a drawing, not a painting, not a memory. An image made of light itself. And somehow, in that image, we have always tried to find an answer to the oldest human question. Who looks back? The oldest known mirrors were not made of glass or metal. They were made of obsidian. Volcanic glass formed when lava cools so fast it has no time to crystallize. Archaeologists in Anatolia, in modern Turkey, found polished obsidian mirrors dating back 8,000 years. Imagine holding a piece of volcano and seeing your face inside it. For those ancient people, a mirror was quite literally a gift from the Earth's own fire. By 4000 BCE, ancient Egyptians had discovered something remarkable. Copper, when hammered flat and polished smooth, reflected light with extraordinary clarity. Egyptian copper mirrors became sacred objects. They were buried with the dead. They were held by priests during ceremonies. The word for mirror in ancient Egyptian was the same word used for life. To see your reflection was to confirm your own existence. In ancient China, bronze mirrors were far more than tools for grooming. They were symbols of cosmic power. The back of a Chinese bronze mirror, which the face never sees, was decorated with intricate patterns. Dragons, phoenixes, the 5 elements, the phases of the moon. The visible face showed you who you are. The hidden back showed the universe you belong to. A mirror was a portal between the human and the heavenly. In Japan, the mirror became the most sacred object in the entire nation. The Yata no Kagami, the sacred mirror, is one of the 3 imperial treasures of Japan, kept at the grand shrine of Isa and never shown to the public. It is said to embody the goddess Amaterasu, deity of the sun. In Japanese Shinto tradition, mirrors do not merely reflect faces, they reveal the soul. A mirror shows not who you appear to be, but who you truly are. The ancient Greeks gave us 2 of the most enduring mirror stories. First, Narcissus, a beautiful young man who knelt beside a pool and fell in love with his own reflection, unable to leave until he withered and died. His name became our word, narcissism. Then Perseus, who used a polished bronze shield as a mirror to look at Medusa, the monster whose direct gaze turned men to stone. The mirror that saved his life. These stories knew something we still feel. A mirror can be a window, a trap, or a weapon. In ancient Rome, polished metal mirrors became fashionable accessories for the wealthy. Roman women carried small silver hand mirrors to banquets, to theaters, to the forum. Roman philosophers were troubled by this. Seneca wrote, "Mirrors were invented so that man may know himself, not so that he may adorn himself." The tension between self-knowledge and self-obsession is not a modern invention. Rome already knew it 2,000 years ago. In the 11th century, a brilliant Arab mathematician named Ibn al-Haytham wrote the Book of Optics, perhaps the most important book about light ever written. He proved, for the first time with scientific rigor, exactly how mirrors work, how light bounces at equal angles, why curved mirrors distort, how the eye receives an image. His work would be read by Leonardo da Vinci, copied by Galileo, and it laid the foundations for every mirror, lens, telescope, and camera that followed. In medieval Europe, mirrors were feared as much as they were desired. People believed that mirrors captured the soul. Breaking a mirror meant 7 years of bad luck, because, it was said, the soul needed 7 years to renew itself. Mirrors were covered when someone died, to prevent the soul from becoming trapped. Even the word mirror comes from the Latin mirare, to wonder, to be astonished. The mirror was always a little bit magic, a little bit dangerous. The fear and fascination became stories. The evil queen in Snow White asks her magic mirror one question. Not, "Am I powerful?" but, "Am I the fairest of them all?" The mirror in fairy tales is always a truth-teller. It cannot lie. It shows not what you wish, but what is. Lewis Carroll's Alice steps through the looking glass into a reversed world where everything follows different rules. In stories, the mirror is always a threshold, the boundary between who we are and who we might become. From obsidian in Turkey to copper in Egypt, from bronze dragons in China to soul-catching glass in medieval Europe, humanity has always been drawn to its own reflection. Each culture saw something different in that shining surface. Some saw the divine, some saw danger, some saw status, some saw truth. But they all looked, all of them, always. And then, in a glassblower's workshop in Venice, everything changed. In the 13th century, the glassblowers of Venice discovered something remarkable. If you blew glass into a very thin, flat sheet and backed it with a layer of tin and mercury, the reflections were extraordinary, clearer, truer, more detailed than anything polished metal could offer. Venice's mirrors were so prized that the city's government exiled the glassblowers to the island of Murano to guard the secret. Any artisan who tried to leave or share the technique faced the death penalty. A mirror had become a state secret. By 1682, Louis XIV of France had installed 357 Venetian mirrors in a single room at Versailles, the Hall of Mirrors. Each mirror panel was a declaration of power. They reflected the gardens, the candlelight, the king's guests, and multiplied everything into infinity. To stand in that room was to feel overwhelmed by reflected light, by the endless repetition of yourself in every direction. The mirror had become architecture. Presence had become spectacle. Why does glass create a better reflection than metal? The secret is in the surface. A polished metal mirror is never perfectly flat. Its microscopic bumps scatter some light. But glass, drawn flat and backed with a metallic coating, creates a surface closer to mathematical perfection. The light strikes, finds no gaps, no hills, no valleys, and bounces back with almost no information lost. The image you see is light itself, returned to you at the speed of light. For centuries, Venetian tin mercury mirrors were the best available. But mercury was highly toxic. In 1835, German chemist Justus von Liebig discovered that silver nitrate, when reduced in solution, deposited a perfect thin film of pure silver onto glass. Clean, safe, and brilliantly clear. Within years, silver-backed glass mirrors flooded the world. For the first time in history, ordinary people, not just kings and queens, could own a true, perfect mirror. The face of the everyday human entered history. Imagine being a peasant farmer in 1840. You are 40 years old. You have never truly seen your own face. Only glimpses in water, rough impressions in polished metal. Then, for the first time, you hold a silver mirror to your face, and you see yourself, every line, every feature. The face you have lived in your entire life, suddenly, completely revealed. Historians suggest this moment, multiplied millions of times, changed human psychology forever. We began to see ourselves as others see us, and we could not unsee it. In 1936, French psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan proposed something extraordinary, that the mirror is not just a tool, it is a developmental stage. When a baby between 6 and 18 months old first sees its own face in a mirror, something happens in the brain. The child recognizes, that is me, that image is mine. For the first time, the self becomes separate from the world. In Lacan's theory, the mirror doesn't reveal the self. The mirror creates the self. The mirror also entered medicine. In the 19th century, doctors used dental mirrors to see inside the mouth. Laryngoscopes used mirrors to examine the throat. Ophthalmoscopes used mirrors to look inside the eye. The surgeon's headband mirror, worn in countless old films, directed light into the body's hidden places. The mirror that began as a tool for vanity became a tool for healing. The reflective surface turned inward, and in doing so, saved millions of lives. From volcanic obsidian to Venetian glass to silver chemistry, every improvement in mirrors brought us closer to ourselves, more detailed, more truthful, more confronting. But each step also raised a harder question. When we see ourselves more perfectly, do we see ourselves more truly, or just more critically? The mirror became perfect, and perhaps that was its most dangerous achievement of all. Painters were obsessed with mirrors. In 1434, Jan van Eyck included a tiny convex mirror in the Arnolfini portrait. And in that mirror, reflected in miniature, you can see the painter himself, watching the scene he is painting. The mirror inside the painting became a painting within the painting. An eye inside an eye. Van Eyck was asking, who is the true artist? The hand that holds the brush, or the reflective surface that shows us what we cannot see ourselves? In 1656, Diego Velázquez painted perhaps the most analyzed painting in history, Las Meninas. In it, the painter himself stands at his own canvas, looking directly at the viewer. And in a mirror on the far wall, we see the faces of the king and queen. But here's the mystery. Where are they standing? They must be standing exactly where we, the viewers, are standing. In Velázquez's mirror, the royal couple is us. The mirror collapsed the boundary between art and reality. The viewer became part of the painting. Once ordinary people could own mirrors, something shifted in fashion. For millennia, people dressed primarily for others, for the approval of those around them. Now, for the first time, you could dress for yourself. You could check your own appearance before facing the world. The mirror gave ordinary people something previously reserved for the wealthy: the ability to curate their own image. Fashion became personal. Identity became visible. And the question, "Am I presenting who I truly am?" became a daily one. In Jewish tradition, when someone dies, mirrors in the house are covered. This practice, called sitting Shiva, has deep meaning. In a time of grief, you should not focus on your own appearance. You should face what has been lost, not what you look like. The covered mirror is an act of redirection, away from the self, toward the other. It is perhaps the most loving use of a mirror, to not use it. To say, right now, how I look does not matter. In 2023, people took approximately 100 billion photographs. Around 1/3 of them were selfies, people photographing themselves. Every day, 36 billion new self-portraits are created. More self-images were made in the last 5 years than in all of human history combined. We have become the most self-documented species that ever lived. The Obsidian mirror that served one person in ancient Turkey now fits in every pocket on Earth. And we look into it, on average, 96 times per day. The selfie is both ancient and new. It answers the same question Narcissus asked beside his pool. But it can also do what Perseus did: use the image not for obsession, but for connection. Studies show that mirror and camera use can increase self-compassion or self-criticism. It depends entirely on the question you bring to the glass. Are you looking to judge, or are you looking to understand? The mirror has always been neutral. The meaning is always ours. Psychologists have studied what happens when people spend a lot of time looking in mirrors. The result is paradoxical. More time in front of a mirror does not make people more confident. In fact, it often makes them more self-critical, more aware of every imperfection. And yet, studies also show that when people look in a mirror while performing an act of kindness or while helping someone else, their sense of self actually improves. The mirror reflects what you bring to it. Kindness in, kindness seen. There is one kind of mirror we rarely discuss: the mirror that shows not just yourself, but your place in a larger story. When you look at your face, you are also looking at the faces of everyone who gave you that face. Your mother's eyes, your grandfather's cheekbones, the lines that tell of seasons lived. Every human face is not just a self-portrait. It is a family portrait, a history, a quiet continuation of something much older than you. You have looked in a mirror today, perhaps many times, and the face you saw, that face has been seen in reflections for 8,000 years of human history. It has been feared, worshipped, painted, polished, photographed, and analyzed, and still, it remains the same mystery it always was. Not a flaw to be corrected, not a problem to be solved. A face, yours, irreplaceable. Remember the anonymous person who first polished obsidian in Turkey 8,000 years ago and saw a face looking back. Remember Ibn al-Haytham, who spent years studying light so we could see ourselves more clearly. Remember Justus von Liebig, whose silver solution gave ordinary people their own reflection for the first time. Each of them was asking the same question you asked today in your mirror. Who is that? What am I? Every mirror ever made carries their patient curiosity inside it. Tonight, before you close your eyes, perhaps try this. Instead of asking, "What does my face show?" try asking, "What does my face carry?" Because your face is not a product to be evaluated. It is a story to be continued. And tonight, the story rests. From volcanic glass in ancient Turkey to silver chemistry in Germany, from the sacred mirror of Japan to the 36 billion reflections made today, humanity has spent 8,000 years looking for itself. And perhaps the most important thing we have learned is this: the mirror is not the answer. It is only the question. The answer has always been behind the glass, looking back, patiently, waiting to be recognized. Sleep well. Somewhere tonight, a still pool catches the stars. Somewhere, an ancient obsidian mirror waits in darkness. And here, in this quiet moment, you need no mirror. You already know who looks back. Rest now.